Hey Jenny, can you believe it? We've recorded over 10 episodes of the Wallflowers of Blue podcast.
And it was all possible thanks to Anchor.
Let us explain.
With Anchor, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
And you know what else? Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more.
Which is awesome because it's the first time that we created a podcast. We also upload to Castbox and Stitcher, but there is more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenerships, which is awesome.
Yes, it is. We found that out. It's everything you need to start your podcast in one place.
Kind of like those big chain stores that have groceries, hardware, and more. That's kind of
Exactly.
awesome.
It is awesome, right?
So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
We did.
Hello, everyone. Before we begin this episode, I wanted to give a trigger warning. I delve a little bit into my past and some things are brought up that can be a little bit triggering. But with that said, enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to Wallflowers in Bloom.
A podcast where we share the joys and challenges of being introverts.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Eric.
Each episode, we share with you stories and anecdotes that touch on how we prosper and thrive in a world dominated by extroverts.
We also have guest speakers who share their experience and expertise on this topic and read letters from our fellow Wallflower listeners on how they cope and conquer.
So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and relax with us.
Music is by Nate Johnson. Hello and welcome to Wallflowers in Bloom. Good morning, Jenny.
Morning, Eric.
It's just the two of us today. We're flying solos.
It is just the two of us today. I'm kind of excited. It's been a while since it's just been the two of us. Topic of today is not really a topic I want.
The joys and challenges of dating.
Yes.
You have some incense burning.
Yeah, I do. I brought my crystals. I brought my incense. I brought my wine.
You are armed and ready.
I am armed. I am very armed. And I brought my popcorn. I figured something is going to work because it's 11:35 p.m. here.
Yeah, here in England, it is 7:35 a.m. For years, I always said I was a morning person, but in the last year, I don't know if I agree with that.
I've never been a morning person. I'm a night owl.
Okay.
I rather put something off for later in the evening when I do feel most energized. So should we do check-ins real quick?
Yes, let's get going on that.
How are you feeling where you are?
I'm still good. Things are going well. Incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be here. I had a really good walk yesterday with my friend's sister. It's really good to just kind of open up as we're learning with this platform, with this podcast, and just as people knowing each other for a long time. Along the lines of what you were just talking about acknowledging that you're not a morning person. For myself, just acknowledging the journey I'm on right now, I enjoy it. Don't judge it. Sounds like a song.
Yeah.
Kind of let myself melt into it more and not be so frozen.
I like the enjoy it, don't judge it. That we need to put on a t-shirt.
Yes, because it's true. Enjoy it, don't judge it. I'm a few days away from being out of the country for a year, out of the US, and what a difference a few days makes. And it's been amazing. And I never could have predicted that I would be where I'm at right now, mainly emotionally and spiritually. And even doing this podcast, like a year ago, I don't know if this was a kernel in your dream pot, but I'm just so grateful that we're doing this. And this has just been an amazing experience. And I love that we're doing this. We're over 13 episodes in. From starting this in April to where we're at now, I think we're different people with this particular platform. I get to hear how we've grown. I think it's been amazing. And I think you've grown so much. And even just sitting here and just seeing you right now, I see a different light.
Listening to our originals, we're so much more comfortable in our own voices, in our own skins. Yeah. We've definitely come a long way, and now we're kind of more comfortable of letting it flow. More fun also, I feel like, because we're not so worried anymore. And we know, like, oh, we just need to be ourselves, and that's okay. And as introverts, I feel like I'm constantly have my guard up because I don't know what to expect from people. So this is nice.
I know for me, what helps this is incorporating other energies into this, our guests, and having it confirmed in a different way that I'm not as unique as I thought I was.
I feel like I've met a whole new community of people.
How has your week been?
My week's been pretty good. Again, it's been mostly homeschooling homeschooling. But otherwise, it's been pretty good. Before we go into our topic, I saw something on Instagram that really called my attention. Toxic positivity.
Huh, what is that?
So I was reading online that toxic positivity is sometimes being too sunny.
Hmm.
Somebody comes to you and says, like, Eric, I'm feeling in a funk, and you be like, it's okay. We need to get out there and just run and do this and do that and just don't think about it. Just be happy. Happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. And I didn't realize, like, you're not allowing the person who's not feeling well to
Yeah,
talk about their feelings. We have to acknowledge the negative sometimes. And I found myself doing that where I'm like, oh, no, 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 just be happy. Just be happy. Like, think happy thoughts or do something that makes you feel good. And of course, that's true. Do something that makes you feel good, but you're causing people to push down their true feelings and cover it up with positivity. Eventually, those feelings are going to bubble over because they were never acknowledged.
yeah.
It's almost a twist on, hiding your feelings or playing pretend or.
It's a great topic. I have been that person. I've never considered myself a sunny persona, but I've definitely been that person that is like, oh, well, look at the glass half full. And that is important. But as you mentioned, all of our feelings are a barometer of where we're at in the moment. And I'm learning through the network of people that I have in my life that I do that for myself. Like I say, oh, just work through it, just work through it, just work through it. I have time for this. But that's not good for me all the time.
If someone needs to talk, just listen.
Hmm.
They may not need advice or may not even want their problem solved. Maybe they just need someone to listen to, just someone to let things out. And we all need that eventually. Yeah, it's great to think positive, but sometimes they just need an ear. My lesson for today is listen.
I like that. Yeah. Completely owning your feelings. We're going to get into this episode, which is about the joys and challenges of dating. Can we share what our current relationship statuses are?
Single.
Ditto for me too. I am single.
Not sure how I feel about it.
Hmm.
There's definitely pros and cons to being single by choice.
Yeah. I'll just be transparent. I've been single most of my adult life. Some of it at one point was because I wasn't dealing with certain insecurities that I had. One of them being that it took me until my late 20s to acknowledge fully to myself that I'm gay. But then after that, I realized through trial and error and that there's more to it than that because I thought, oh, well, once I come out, then that's the answer and open the door and there'll be the love of my life. But there's much
Yeah.
more to it than that. I have to put in work, positive work in my own dating
Yeah.
life. But in the last year, I've been sitting down with myself first and sharing a bit more honestly about what I really want as far as a relationship. I realize today that I have to look at more of what I'm bringing to the table. I realize in a different way that I really have to challenge myself to be vulnerable
Hmm.
because that scares me. And I can see in my past how being afraid of being completely myself has gotten in the way of me having healthy long term relationships.
Being vulnerable is scary. I mean, I'm 32
Mhm.
and I've been separated since 2016, so it's been 4 years now. I was in this relationship for 10.
Mm.
For 10 years, married for 5. I was 17. I
Mhm.
was in this relationship most of my life. So, like I said, I'm single by choice now.
Mhm.
And it took me a while to get here because I don't know, Eric, is it because I'm a woman? I get the constant, oh, you're pretty, you'll find someone soon.
Mhm.
Oh, why aren't you dating? Or you should already have a boyfriend. This is the first time I'm like admitting it out loud. But okay, this is personal, but my husband cheated on me. He had the affair, he left me for this person, and he started a family. Now, because it's something that's been imprinted on us where it's like you need to find someone. Why are you still alone? If you don't have a husband and a family, what are you?
Mhm.
And that's something I got a lot. And here's something else. My biological mother, who's Latina also, when I found out about the affair, when I was trying to just figure out what I wanted to do, her advice was let it be. Don't ruin your family. Just look the other way. Let him do what he wants. You keep your family together. And to me, that was a shock because that's not how my adoptive parents raised me.
Mhm.
And I thought a woman would be able to advise me better than my parents. And after the separation stuff, I went on a like, I need to find someone. I need to find someone and prove my worth.
Mhm.
I think it has to do a lot with the pressure that is put on women. And I think it's a cultural thing as well. It took me a while to come to terms where I've been in a relationship for 10 years. I don't want one right now. I
Mhm.
just want to do me. I made a lot of decisions for this person.
Mhm.
And honestly, I had lost myself. So in the past 4 years, well, the past 2 years, I've been finding myself, figuring out what I truly like, what I truly don't like, what truly makes me feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And this past couple years is where I found out, you know what? I've learned to embrace my introvertness. I've learned to embrace my bookwormness.
Mhm.
So, yes, I am single by choice because of this relationship I was in for 10 years.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm making the right choice for myself. It's not my place to judge. I've seen a lot of women, they get divorced and then they have a boyfriend and then they have another boyfriend. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, I can't do that. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's part of my introvertness. It's uncomfortable to me. I'm like, I don't want to have to talk to that many people. So, that is my history and why I've chosen to be single. For the sake of this episode, I did get back on Bumble. So,
I want to say I didn't know a lot of the particulars with your marriage, but what I've seen since that happened is you found your strength. I've never gone through that, so I don't ask because I want to honor where you're at and where you've been. What I've seen is you've become this incredibly strong woman. In your eyes, I've seen somebody who says, I'm going to be me. And
mhm.
if you like it, fine. And if you don't, that's fine too.
Have you ever felt that way, Eric? Like you felt like the pressure of you need to be with somebody is on you,
That's
or the pressure of you should have kids by now?
You touched on, being a woman and some cultural aspects. And I know just having two sisters and then my memories of my mom's marriage to my stepdad was a marriage that needed some reworking, in my opinion. They're no longer here. And then just having female friends, it seems like, well, your value, your worth is tied to this relationship. For me, yesterday, somebody said, oh, well, you're a nice guy. You're a good looking guy. From what I can tell, you're smart, you're bright, you're engaging. They didn't say, I don't understand why you're single. They said, well, it shouldn't be a problem for you to find somebody. For my own awareness, I needed to see that in myself. It's one thing for somebody to tell me, but it's
Yeah.
another thing for me to see that. My opinion is that we're our upbringing, we're our experiences in childhood, those formative years. And I've returned to that a couple times through therapy. And most recently, I've returned to that not as a victim, but just as a simple cause and effect and saying, well, this happened. This is why I feel this way about myself, especially in the area of dating and romance. But I'm willing to look at it and say, how can I, to the best of my ability, work through this? I'm 50, and for me to admit that I've been single most of my adult life, I had a lot of shame over that for years because people would say, why aren't you with somebody? Or,
Yeah.
you should be with somebody. Or the thing of you're in a group setting and then they'll say, oh, well, go talk to that guy. That guy wants to talk to you. And you look like you would be great together. And if you try it and you meet and they're like, what happened? It's like, well, I didn't pick up on a vibe from him. Well, Eric, you're being picky. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like I still want to feel like there's a connection
Yeah.
there. I don't just want to be in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. I've had people admit to me that that's
Exactly.
why they hop from one to another. Is they say, well, because I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be lonely, or I don't want to feel the stigma of judgment from others that say, oh my God, you're single? How sad.
What is this saying? I'd rather be alone than in bad company.
Oh,
You
hell
know?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Spanish. Sola,
Mhm.
mejor que mal acompañada is what it is in Spanish. And it's been my mantra for a while. And I'm at a point in my life where I know the type of people I like. I know the type of people I don't like. I know the type of people I can connect with. I know the type of people I can't connect with.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to force myself
Mhm.
to do that.
I understand that. So,
So
can I ask? You talked about your ex-husband. Was that the first serious relationship, or during your teen years had you dated before?
that was my first serious relationship. I think I had gone on one other date before him. And honestly, I was shy. I
Mhm.
was not an introvert back then. I was shy. My school was an all-girls school, so it was really hard to meet
Mhm.
guys. I just kind of stuck close to home. My teenage years were very much kept to myself. I was one of the daydreamers. I
Mhm.
had lots of crushes, but never anyone I would have the courage to go and talk to.
Hmm.
I met my ex-husband my senior year of high school, and then it just kept going from there. I dated one person that I went to like the movies and dinner with,
Hmm.
and then there was one guy that I really, really liked, and he was in my quinceañera, but we were like 14, 15, so we never actually went on dates.
Hmm.
It's like puppy love.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much dating back then. How about you, Eric? Let's talk about you. How was your teen
A lot
years?
of similarities. I was incredibly shy. We moved around a lot. That actually came up in conversation yesterday too. So I never really felt like I was connected to a particular community or group of people. So yeah, I was very shy, very much, I don't think a loner is the right word, but it's because of family dynamics and things, I just kept to myself a lot. Now I know some part of that was being an introvert. I loved
Mhm.
reading. I loved books. When I got to junior high, high school, I was still really shut down about being gay. But once I came out later, I realized that regardless of whether I would have been gay or straight, as being an introvert, that just was a part of me in those
Yeah.
early years. And I had crushes too. I didn't really know what they were. Looking back, I was aware that I had these, not even friendships, but these really strong bonds with certain types of guys. I went on one date, and that was my senior year of high school, and it was a girl named Danielle, and that was one date. And did I ask her out? I was aware that she liked me. I only dated a few women before I came out as gay, nothing serious. Usually I became aware that the girl liked me, and so
Mhm.
either they asked me out or I found a way to let them know that, oh, okay, we can go out on a date. Yeah, I was incredibly shy during that time period. I just loved reading. I loved listening to these love songs that I had no idea what they were talking about. But at that age, I
Daydream.
daydreaming, already an old soul, but not really, because I needed some life experience to really understand what I was listening to. But
Uh-huh.
definitely those tortured love songs. I was right there in my bed with my Walkman. When will I find my?
Oh my God, I can relate to that so much, except mine was my CD player.
Yeah.
My portable CD player.
Yes, there were long nights where I was, because I did see people around me who were dating and who were finding that, it seemed, and I wasn't getting that. And my way of dealing with my shyness or my introversion or not dealing with it was to really focus on school, which that was good in one sense. But I really believe that I was above that for a long time. Like, that's not who I am. I'm not meant to really have that type of light. And that's so not true, I know today. So, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
experiences in the teen years. And then I know for you, you got married in your 20s, and I stumbled through my 20s. The last woman that I tried to date, I think I was maybe 24, 25. I came out to myself at 28. There were a lot of pockets of just inactivity, nothing.
So you came out at 28, but did you have a sense about it before you came out or as a child? Like my dad Cayetano was like, I've always known I just had to cover it up since he was 5, I think.
I can look back and say there were clues. As early as 4 or 5, I was aware more of terms, not of the F word. I don't use that word, but of like sissy. I was petrified
Oh.
of that word. And nobody, to my awareness, ever called me that, at least to my face. But I remember as
Hmm.
early as 5 years old when you're going to school that I was afraid of that word because, I wasn't athletic. A book and a swing would have been fine with me. I didn't want to
Yeah.
do what the other boys were doing. And it could have been too, not necessarily that I want to play sports, but I was aware as far as that part of myself of something being a little different. And I didn't want people to pick up on that. So I just kind of kept to myself as much as I could. I remember when I was 7, there was a new boy at school named Byron, and all the girls, the popular girls, I was standing near them when they were gushing about, oh my God, Byron is so cute. And I just remember like thinking, oh, he is cute. And then going, ooh, did I say that out loud? I don't think I said that out loud. So there was those awarenesses, but I never sat down long enough to allow myself to acknowledge that. Looking back, there were crushes, but I didn't call them that. I didn't even acknowledge that that's what they were. I wanted to be around them all the time, and I didn't want them to know that I wanted to be around them all the time. So I was aware of that. So for you
That's very
now,
interesting.
what are your relationship goals?
I would like a relationship.
Mhm.
I guess I'm just kind of getting a feel for things right now. It's COVID, so it's really hard to meet people. Again, because what I went through of my previous relationship, I'm very hesitant about a relationship. And I guess because I changed myself so much to be the person that he wanted me to be, I'm the kind of person that will give it my all to someone. And a lot of people have told me, like, that's not what a good relationship is. A good relationship is going to be someone, or a good person is going to be someone that does not try to change you or does not try to mold you into what they want. So I'm still trying to find that person. I've accomplished a lot in these past 4 years, emotionally and
Mhm.
personally. I've hit a lot of milestones that I'm very proud of. My relationship goal is for someone to also have their life and me to have my life. But at the end of the day, we can come
I
together
understand that.
and then move together in this world. Do I want marriage? I'm not sure. Do I want more kids? I'm not sure.
I know for me, it was two things I know I needed to ask myself when I decided to do what I'm doing now. And one of them is to say, what do I really want as far as relationship? A relationship. I do want one. I'm afraid of committing, and not because I'm a Lothario and I'm running the streets or anything. I'm just afraid of giving myself over that way because I know a relationship means working with somebody and compromising, not giving up myself. I related to what you shared about losing myself in someone. I've done that, and that's not that person's fault. That's been me thinking, oh, well, in order for you to like me, I have to mold myself into what I think you want me to be, or it might even be who you say I should be. And I've definitely been that person.
That's one thing I just really quick want to clarify is like it wasn't his fault. My ex-husband's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, they were my
Mhm.
choices. And I chose to attempt to make this person happy. Now that I look back, he never asked me to.
Mm,
I'm glad that you brought that up, that it's us and we tend to give a lot of ourselves. I feel like as an introvert, we tend to give a
mhm.
lot, especially when we finally find a connection with someone. I feel like we really want to just give them our
Yeah.
all.
Lay it all out
So,
there. I've definitely been that person.
exactly.
And people have said to me, you don't have to give it all right now. And I hear it, but then my actions would be like, I want you to love me. I want you to like me. I want you to da da da. And thank you for sharing that. Another thing with doing this podcast about introversion, and I think a couple of our guests have talked about it who have been extroverts, is looking for projects. And I don't want to be a project. As a
Yes.
friend or as a romantic partner, I've had experiences where people they like me and then they say, but we can work with this, we can alter this, we can
Mm.
change this. If you don't like who is here right now, I'm okay with you walking away, and I mean that. My experiences have been around introversion is that, I know you don't like to go to the club and go dance in the middle of the dance floor with the spotlight on you, but let's try it again. I'll work with you.
Yes, you bring up a very good point. In my ex's family, there's a person. Again, I'm adopted and I have two dads, two gay men who raised me to be an independent
Mhm.
person. Not just a woman, a person, because they never saw between men and women. It's just you're a person, be a good person, be an independent
Mhm.
person. And I was told I'm not a good woman because I was raised by a man
Mm.
and I needed to learn how to be a woman. For anybody out there, you do not need to learn to be anything. You need to be yourself. You said being a person's project. That was a little bit of a trigger. Sorry,
No.
Eric. It was like, it threw me back to when she told me I am not a good woman because I was raised by men. I'm not a woman who likes makeup. I don't like to go shopping. I'll wear makeup, I'll dress up when I have to, or not have to, but with events. I was raised in a household where I didn't see a woman washing dishes and making dinner. I saw a couple helping each other
Mhm.
out with the
Mhm.
housework. This wasn't just like with my ex's family. This has been in a lot of different places that I've gone and events that I've gone to where I don't even think they mean to. I really don't think they do this
Mhm.
consciously, but you can see the gender split
Mm.
where the women go in one direction and the men go in another. And I'm like, I want to know what everybody's talking about.
Yeah. As a gay man, if I don't know the company there and if I know I'm going to be the only gay man, I don't want to go. because of that
Mhm.
separation of genders. And it's not universal, but I'll just say me, my own life as a gay man, because guys talk about certain things, and that's fine. It's not a judgment on that, but I don't feel a part of that. And then I want to talk to the women, but even though I'm gay and we could both say we're attracted to the same gender, being a
Yeah.
woman and being a gay man are not the same thing.
I'm not a girly girl. Not that other women who were raised by men are not girly girls, but my personality is very tomboyish, very laid back, very like, okay.
But that's who you are, I would say. And
Yeah.
I have two sisters, and my one sister, who's your age, is more like you. But she's a lot like our mother. My mom was that way. I remember every now and again she would try to get super girly because my aunt, her sister, was that way. Two sisters are night and day. My aunt is the one who's always had her nails lacquered and her hair always done a certain way. And my mom was like, that's for a man. That's fine. If I'm trying to attract a man, that's one thing, but it's not comfortable for
Yeah.
me 24 hours a day. But I remember one
Yeah.
time my mom had gotten these really long fake nails, and I think I was in high school, about 16. And we went to the gas stations, and she's trying to grab the pump. And then my mom, and just in her way, she was like, nope, nope, nope. She just started flicking those nails off.
Oh my
Being a
God.
woman, the same as being a
Yeah,
man, is there's so many variations on that. Just because you're
exactly.
not
There is.
meeting certain expectation doesn't mean that you're not authentically a woman.
And here's the thing, I did not meet the cultural expectation. I feel like that's very important. I did not meet their cultural
Mm.
expectation. Unfortunately, it's for a lot of cultures.
In the gay world, there's different variations, but the one that's put out front is super fashionable, super knowledgeable about everything that has to do with the exterior. And there's parts of that is me. I definitely will admit to being vain. But
Mm,
when I came out in my late 20s and going into my 30s, I tried to be what I thought was being a good gay. I was wearing these ribbed tank tops and going to the gym. And in the moment, I didn't think I looked good, but I could look at pictures now and go, oh, wow, I look better than I thought I did. But it wasn't me because I never felt authentically myself when I was trying to do that. The look may have been okay, but my energy wasn't supporting that. And so it just was causing
Yeah.
confusion for myself more than anything. I think at times for people, because if a guy expressed
Mhm.
interest in me and I was an introvert and I did want to have a conversation or me, but the look wasn't matching the personality.
It's funny you said about being your authentic self and stuff. You really do, and I think I took those to the extreme. This was a couple years ago when I was on Bumble thinking that I needed to find
Mhm,
someone, like three different
mhm.
apps.
Which is
But
normal. Some people.
yeah, but I went on this date and I was so frustrated with my hair. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give my worst. It can only get better from here.
Yeah.
I didn't do my hair, I just put it up in a bun and I didn't do my makeup. I felt like we had fun, but I didn't get a call
Well,
back.
you just brought up a memory, but this was at the beginning of when online dating was really starting to get going. Some people just don't know how to take a good picture of themselves. And
Yeah.
so I was chatting with this guy, we talked on the phone. He sounded okay. His pictures, I was like, whatever. It was like, well, I don't have anything to do tonight, so I'll meet him for dinner. I came presentable, but I just didn't really think anything about it. And I remember sitting in the booth waiting for him, and I was just kind of slouched. And then he came around the corner and walked in. I was like, oh shit. Oh, oh, oh. So yeah,
Funny.
that brought up a
Oh,
really great memory of that.
that's pretty funny. For my day, I was like, I'm gonna be my authentic self.
Yeah.
And it could only get better from
Yeah,
here.
I think you
So
have a
yeah,
good canvas to work with. So, they can't not say that you're not pretty and you're not
thank
attractive.
you.
Yes. Do you have an ideal partner?
An ideal person would be maybe more active than social and wouldn't mind traveling and just, their head on
Mhm.
straight. I think ambition to a certain extent is good, but puts the efforts forward to what they want to do.
Okay.
Looks, I really like guys with beards. Oh,
Your face.
sorry. Yes, or gingers with beards. Oh, I'm just saying. If you're in Scotland, hey, how are you? Age, I am not opposed to an older person. I actually went on a date. I'm 32, he was
Mm,
50. Honestly, on the dating sites and stuff, I've realized a lot of guys my age are still kind of in their partying time. They're still very, like, not figuring themselves out, but very independent, constantly moving. So I tend to look for the older guys between like 40s and 50s because they seem to be more settled. Also, I prefer somebody who had a lot of
Mhm.
girlfriends, has gone through their college stage and partied their head off. They've experienced all that and they don't feel the need to experience it.
No, I get that. And LA is a town where one can be quote unquote young a lot longer than if you were in a small town. And then two, you don't look your age at all. I would guess that you're going to attract men who are a lot younger and some who are older too, having a lot of options.
Confidence is also something really important to me. There was a guy that I went on a date with, and then it progressed to
Mhm.
more. He was always asking me, like, how did I do from 1 to 10? Can you rate me
Oh,
from 1?
whoa.
Yes. And I was like, there's only so many times I can rate you. And I didn't even want to do it the first time.
Oh,
So yeah.
sorry.
I am telling you, oh God,
Just picture
interesting
like a little
dates.
card with the checks and then a little small little wooden pencil.
Happy face, sad face from 1 to 5. Extremely satisfied, not
Oh,
satisfied.
wow. Well, I guess points to him for
It's one thing if a man asks, "Did you enjoy it? Did you have
yeah,
fun?" I think
making
that's
sure
good to
you're part of the
communicate with your
process. Yeah.
partner. Yeah. Constant reassuring you is not really a turn on.
I would feel like for myself, do I matter in this? It could
Yeah.
be me, it could be somebody else. You're just more concerned with how you did, as opposed to this
Yeah,
is like a
exactly.
mutually enjoyable experience.
Exactly.
Well, I would
So,
say for me, my ideal used to be focused on a few looks, but I'm allowing myself to say that that is not indicative of healthy or what is meant for me. I want to be attractive. I think that's important. You have to be attracted to the person, but for me, not being so rigid in what the fantasy or the daydream is. And I've definitely learned as I've gotten older that attraction crosses so many boundaries. And one thing I realized about 2, 3 years ago, and I've heard this more from women, correct me if I'm wrong, but listening is sexy. I know for me, I
yeah.
didn't really
And
focus on that for a long time.
And again, the way we know they're listening is because later they will do
Mhm.
something that you hadn't meant to comment on. That's when you realize they're listening. We enjoyed this drink, and later on, oh, look, I made this drink for you. I hate flowers,
Mm.
but I love chocolate. The reason I don't like flowers is because they die and they stink. I don't want you to waste your money on something that's gonna die and stink up my living room.
And as a woman at my former job, again, the thing of what a woman is supposed to like, that's subjective because she's been married for a long time. And that was one of the things I remember she said several years ago. She's like, around Valentine's Day, she's like, I hope he doesn't get me flowers this year. He knows I don't want flowers. I don't care about flowers.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't think they're
Yeah.
pretty, I just don't want flowers.
There's so many ways you can be creative in your gifts or in like for Valentine's Day that don't have to do with the traditional chocolate and flowers. So what else do you have? Looks, age.
I'm 50, but my awareness of things is people don't know that. They don't usually guess my age. I see myself every day, so I don't really know what people are saying, but I'm aware that
Mhm.
people usually don't know my age.
I don't see 50.
Yeah, so as far as a potential partner, I don't like to go more than 5 years younger than me. That's ideal.
Okay.
As far as
Yeah.
older, I'm at an age now where 55 is 5 years older. I know that that's a 5 year difference, but a 55-year-old can look.
There's a lot of good looking
There
55-year
are,
olds
there
out there.
are, but then there
There
are
sound
those
good.
that look like what we expect. It may be different for men and women. I don't know. No, even that, because I have friends who date a lot younger, so I can't say that. But for me, I feel, and kind of maybe what you touched on, that I'm drawn to more outgoing, assertive personalities. And I feel that is more possible with somebody closer to my age. But who knows? But yeah, I don't feel comfortable more than 10. And I don't think I've ever dated anybody 10 years younger than me. And I think that could be to my own vanity. I don't want to look like I'm a lot older than somebody, just being honest.
I'm bringing my son on date
No,
night.
and even with like with online dating, I've had guys reach out and they'll say they're like 29 and oh, I'm really into older guys, and I'm like, delete. Nothing about that turned me on because I was like horrified
Mhm.
when I saw that.
Everybody has a
Mhm.
journey And sometimes it's the journey that people connect with and not the age.
Ah, good.
Again, it's not for everybody. I personally would not, at this point, saying what my options are, would not go younger.
I really like something you said, active as opposed to social. I like that.
Going to clubs and stuff is just not my thing. I don't like it. I rather you take me to Big Bear and teach me how to
Mhm.
snowboard than go party and drink at the hottest nightclub.
Yeah.
In my road trip, we went to Colorado and I saw the river rafting, and I'm like, I want to go back
Mm,
to go river
yeah.
rafting. And it would be great to have someone to go with me that's active and really into it. I would prefer to be planning with my partner. I would prefer to plan a trip, going somewhere, doing something, or a project or a house project. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. And I feel like you're kind of in the same with me, where it's finding a partner where it's like, let's plan a trip somewhere, or travel,
Yeah.
or do something together.
A nice restaurant. I like nice little dinner parties. I do enjoy those because I think it gives me more of an opportunity to connect with people or anybody. I think for me, being the age I am now, I think it would be incredibly silly for me to want to go to the hippest nightclub because I'm not a part of that demographic anymore. What is your take on dating apps?
I like to swipe. I've been on Bumble and I've been on Match. I like Bumble because girls open up the
Mm.
conversation. So that makes me feel a little bit safer. But then my like old fashioned sense of where the guy needs to make the move kind of defeats the purpose. One of my old coworkers, we had gone to lunch and I was venting my frustration with dating apps and stuff. I've had some good dates and I've had some really bad
Mm.
dates. 80% on my dates on dating apps, I am pulling teeth to have a conversation with somebody. I ask a question and their answer is a yes, no, uh-huh. And it's like you are giving me nothing to work with. I think 95% of the people on a dating app are
Mm.
introverts. So you need to be prepared to hold up the conversation. That has been my issue with dating apps. And that's what my coworker said. And he asked me, he's like, what type of person do you like? And I told him, I think I want an active person. He's like, well, where do you think the active people are? They're probably out there having fun. They're not on a dating app. They're out there enjoying the life. Maybe you need to get out there. But it's true. I think if you're an introvert and you're going on a dating app, just be prepared. On my profile, I blatantly put out there, I'm an introvert. Please be patient with
Mm,
me.
okay.
So if this other person who sees my profile and they know they're not talkative, they can swipe left.
That's where I go to your dad, Robert, when he was on. He's a therapist, a psychiatrist, and he talked about the difference between shyness and introversion. I love conversation, and I think you've talked about this a couple of times in episodes. I may not initiate a conversation, but I love to talk. As far as having a one-on-one conversation, that's when I wonder with online dating if it's not that they're introverts, it's that they maybe don't have social skills or shy. Because I've
Yeah.
had similar experiences where, hey, and what's up is not a conversation to me. When you
Yeah.
get that in person, that's been a challenge for me. If we want to meet, you got to talk. And I'm
Yeah,
not going
you
to
got to give
hide
me something to
behind
work
that
with.
I'm not the most gregarious person. We're one on one. It's a new person, but we just start talking. Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
order the tofu scramble. You're gonna have what?
Exactly. Or why do you like that? I talk about small talk and how annoying it is, but there's really no other way to start getting to new people. At the same time, it's hard to have an insightful conversation, especially online. You're just kind of going in
Yeah.
blank. There's some guys who put stuff on their profile, ask me about this, and then I'll open up the conversation with that question,
Mhm.
which I'm grateful for. Again, online dating is tough.
It's relatively new in the human experience, online dating. My perception of it, at least with men, gay or straight, is that I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to give a man in general too many options because then he doesn't know
Hmm.
how to focus. And I'm a man too. And I think that could be across the board, men and women, but I think they're looking more for validation more than to form actual connections with people. Oh,
Exactly.
you like me. Okay, now that's all I need to know. It's been an interesting experience for me. I go off and on them. You suggested Bumble for me. I did go on there. I like Tinder here in Europe just because if we both swipe and there's a connection, then that can be a way to start a conversation. Okay, Cupid in the States, I was doing that in LA. off and on. In the gay community, there's Grinder, which they say here can be used for dating, but my take on it is more about hookups, which is fine. I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
my persona, not so much as being an introvert, I have a past too and I have needs, but my awareness of apps like Grinder is that you have to reveal a lot physically. I'm not comfortable with that. It's just me personally, and I've had to walk through that for myself because I've judged like, oh, I'm super uptight, and then I have to just finally reach a point like I'm not comfortable. But it is good that type of app for me to have less judgment about just wanting to have sex with somebody if it's mutually agreeable because I did go
Yeah.
through a period for myself where I thought, well, if we're not at least dating, then I'm not going to go there with this guy.
I'll be honest, maybe just a friend with benefits would be the most convenient thing.
No, I would be open to
And
that myself. I won't say who, but there's somebody in my life, a woman, and I love the way she described it. It's like, we're not boyfriend, girlfriend, but we do enjoy each other. When we get
yeah,
together, we might have a meal, we might even go out, but our main
yeah,
connection is that we satisfy each other sexually. That's why we
yeah.
come together.
And that's actually kind of interesting where she says like we'll go out occasionally. I think that would be ideal for me was like we'll go out occasionally. It'd be nice to have someone to cuddle up with at night and just watch a movie or your friend said girl has needs. Sometimes you just need a human
Mhm.
touch. And maybe that's right now where I'm at and it's more ideal until I can really figure out.
So something you just said about touch. The act of sex, of course, sure. Sometimes like I just want to be held. I just want the intimacy. I
Exactly.
just want to be able to sit on the sofa and just cuddle.
Maybe a friend with privilege at this moment works for me, but later on it might not work for me because I want something more
Yeah, yeah.
serious.
I've traveled alone a lot in the last 10, 12 years, but I will be honest, traveling for fun, I will say the last
Hmm.
couple times, I went to Berlin for my birthday earlier this year. That I enjoyed. But a year and a half ago, I went to Toronto. I'd never been there, been to Montreal, and that was kind of a mini awakening. I did not enjoy the trip. I didn't know how to identify it in the moment, but it was until after the trip and I was talking to people and somebody said, sounds like this was a trip where you wanted to share it with somebody. I said, yeah, it
Mm.
was. Where I'm at now is a really small village, but I've been to the two towns that are on either side of it, and I'm not really into the sightseeing because I'm in that zone again of it would be nice to do this, like take a day and we have breakfast here, and then we walk around and do some sightseeing, and then we have
Yeah.
lunch. Because, yeah, I do desire that right now. I do.
We're all at different points in our life. Maybe if you're listening, you're at a point where you were in a really long term relationship and you just want to do
Hmm.
you. Maybe you're not ready. Everybody's different. And like I said earlier, I made choices and I lived with them. Yes, people can have suggestions. Yes, people will give you advice. But at the end of the day, you make the
Hmm.
decision because you live with that decision.
Hmm.
That person who made the suggestion is not living with the decision. You are. Just remember that. Let's come back to this dating app thing. Be safe. Take safety precautions. I always take a screenshot of the person's profile and send it to three different people. And then I always share my
Hmm.
location. I think the safety thing, I think a lot of girls, we already have so many safety measures. Don't let them buy me a drink. I need to watch the waiter pour it and don't leave my drink alone. I would never go to a person's house on a first
Hmm.
date. You meet somewhere public. Just follow your gut. There's a podcast I really like, My Favorite Murder, and
Hmm.
their go to saying is fuck politeness and don't get murdered. Don't be nice if you have a bad feeling. Don't be nice and just walk the other way. Fuck if you're rude or not. If they call you a bitch, that's fine. Move
Yeah.
on. Make sure that their pictures are not blurry. Try to make sure they have some pictures with friends and family that aren't all modeled pictures. Because you do have a lot of people out there who steal pictures. It's so easy to take a screenshot of someone else's picture and use it as your own profile picture.
Hmm.
It's good if they have an Instagram attached.
I know some profiles, like the guy will say, I'm a fry cook at McDonald's. No diss to fry cooks at McDonald's, but then he has this amazing model headshot. And I'm like, wow, he takes really great pictures to work at McDonald's.
You're like, ooh, hello, fry cook at McDonald's.
Okay. But that opened my awareness to, like you said, about having to be aware of safety, definitely for women, first and
Yeah.
foremost. As a gay man, there's the fear of men who will identify as gay online, but they're not. They're straight. They're trying to set up a gay bashing,
Scam.
and one has to
Yeah.
be mindful of that. That's why, for me personally,
Oh.
I like to meet out in the open. But I know for women, that's really, really important. And I'm glad that you listed those suggestions for women to make sure that you're taking care of yourself.
Google has the picture lookup where like the face recognition, so you can put in a picture of a person and then it'll bring up all their profiles in social media that face feature is attached to. I have run into guys and they're very upfront and they're like, "Hey, I'm married. I'm just looking for someone on the side." After what happened to me, I'm like, "You fucking disgusting pig." Like, if you're tired of your wife probably got tired of you a long time ago. I mean, they were honest and straightforward about it, but at the same time, I didn't think it made them any less disgusting.
I have learned as if a guy is always calling from a car, that could mean that there's somebody at home. And I've
Eh,
had that experience. I kept saying, well, when are we going to meet? And then one time I remember saying, oh, you're in the car again.
I had one person say like, "Oh, I'm gonna call you from a number, but don't call it back." Like, red flag. I've also had, "Oh, I have so many allergies, so it would be awesome like if you wouldn't wear perfume around me because I'm allergic to a lot of perfumes." Or, "I prefer a girl who's more natural and doesn't wear a lot of makeup." To me, those are all red flags of somebody who's married, who's like, they just don't want lipstick on their
I didn't even
shirt,
think that.
or they don't want their shirts or their clothes smelling like women's perfume. And that's sometimes worrisome where it's like, do I really want to put that I want something casual on a profile?
My concern with casual, and I do put it, is that you get something really graphic,
Oh
and then
God.
this, oh, where can we meet up? And it's like, there's still some stroking you got to do, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that works for some people. I always kind of describe myself, I'm like an electric stove, warm me up a little bit, okay?
I love that.
The art of foreplay, come on.
Exactly.
When you put a pizza in the oven or your favorite pot pie, you have to preheat the oven.
Yes, I love that.
Maybe that
No
we put that on our
flowers, just
profile.
chocolates.
Preheating needed.
Yes, this one had me popping my wine open because I was like, "Ugh, I'm talking about dating."
It's part of our lives too as
It
introverts.
is part of a life as introverts. I want to ask, and I feel like it would be a stupid question, but are European men different than American men?
I'd have to be here longer to really answer that question. I think as far as casual dating, there seems to be less judgment here. And this is
Okay.
all opinion and what limited experience I've had in the time that I've been here. Mainly, I would say male female dating. That's what I've heard.
So
Yeah.
will they need a rating from 1 to 10, extremely satisfied to not
See, that's a
satisfied?
movie scene that needs to be written down because I don't know what I would do if
I'm
a
gonna
guy.
put it on a t-shirt. 1 through 5, extremely satisfied,
It's
not
brilliant in
satisfied.
that, when it happens, for me, those types of experience, I'm like, oh, you will be talked about. Trust me. Well, I'll share real quickly. I had a guy, I always call him Checkers. So he was vegan, I'm vegan, we were around the same age. We went on 3 dates. On the third date, he said he would cook at his place. So usually, if you're going to have dinner at somebody's house, something might happen. You don't know,
Yeah.
as long as you're open to it. So I said, cool. And he said, oh, we're going to play games. So I was like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, oh, so what does that mean?
In girl version, that's the night you shave your legs.
Okay. So we had dinner and everything, and then he goes, "Oh, so are you ready for the games?" I was like, "Okay." I hope this isn't gonna be like me being tied up or anything, but I'm
Okay, sure, whatever you say.
no, I don't want to go down that road. So then he comes out with a box of checkers and a chess game.
Sorry. I'm trying to keep a straight face.
So I was like, "Okay," and then he goes, "Which one do you want to play?" And I was like, "Oh, so." Me being the nice person, the people pleaser at the time, I'm like, All right. Well, he meant games. Okay. So I said, well, checkers. I haven't played checkers, I think, since I was a kid. He pulls out the board. So I'm thinking, well, while we're playing, we're going to have conversations. So I'm trying to bring up conversation. He's like, shh, I'm trying to concentrate. At that point, I'm like, okay, you're going to become infamous. Trust me.
Oh my God. Shh, I'm concentrating.
Couldn't even remember how to play checkers. I was just like, I'm trying to remember how to play this game. I remember it's easy, but
Oh, that's funny. That was a good ending.
oh, we did it.
We did. Oh, relationships and manifestations. Do you want to manifest anything?
I'd like to manifest for myself a healthy, romantic, sexual relationship where we're mutually attracted to each other. And somebody, as my
Yes.
dad used to say, who is also my best friend.
Same. And that we make each other feel confident and good about each other.
Yes, that's a good one. Somebody said, all the traits that I look for in a friend, look for that in a mate.
The additional, you need to be sexually attracted to them.
That's important too. My
Don't
experience is
settle.
don't minimize that because I've minimized that part of it, and that's just as important. Yes, I agree.
And appreciates me and doesn't want to change me.
Ah,
And
that's a good one too. Yes.
yeah, and just enjoys me for who I am.
Yes, I think that's
Um,
important.
and if somebody tries to isolate you, that's a red flag too. Be safe, be
Hmm.
kind,
Hmm.
and listen.
And also enjoy the ride. We share about some of the less than
Enjoy
savory
it.
moments, but it's beautiful too.
Yes, enjoy it. Don't judge it. Any closing words, Eric?
I like the manifestation is closing out.
I had my crystals out here.
Thank you, crystals.
Thank you, crystals. Manifestation crystals. Manifest good sex.
Okay. Where are my crystals? Let me run out and buy some.
So I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I really love these articles that this person is putting up. Introvert Dear on
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Instagram.
I like them.
Thank you for your memes. Thank you for your blogs. I just really enjoyed them. And I want to give a shout out to the 7 skills every freelance introvert needs. That kind of changed my perspective
Hmm.
on freelancing, especially as someone who is starting my freelance journey. All right. Good night, Eric.
Good night. It was a great conversation. I look forward to the response.
Yes, and good night, my wallflowers.
Good night and good morning and good evening
Yes,
and
good
good
night, good
afternoon.
morning, wherever you are.
Yes.
Thank you for spending time with us. If you have questions or a story you'd like to share, email us at wallflowersinbloom2020@gmail.com.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at wallflowers_in_bloom and search for us on Facebook under Wallflowers in Bloom.
If you like this episode, please subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Castbox. Until next time.